Surveyors confronted by Bigfoot posturing with intimidation on the Mogollon Rim. Rick writes RMSO. I'm a land surveyor in Arizona. Had a sighting near the Mogollon Rim close to Strawberry, Arizona in 2012 while setting up panels for a topography flight. Never had Bigfoot on the mind, never imagined they would be in Arizona. It totally messed me up for the better part of a year. Classic PTSD. Nightmares, panic attacks, you name it. Really sucked. Like every other time in my life I've been knocked down, I got up and faced it. I've been back to that area several times hoping to see one of them again. They're there. We saw the same one multiple times. I say we because there was three of us on a crew. All three of us saw the same thing. The closest point that we saw him was probably about 35 feet as it ran by us. RMSO asks, Hi Rick, we're familiar with the Mogollon Rim. Our team actually camped near Strawberry one year for a long expedition. We received a Bigfoot sighting report from the outskirts of Pine last February. A woman saw the creature move along the fence line at the back of her yard while she was standing at the kitchen window. If you don't mind, could you describe the Bigfoot as best as you recall? Height, estimate the width, color, or face description? How did the sighting start? What happened? How did it end? Rick continues, I'm telling you, that area is hot. I've gone back with one of my coworkers and camped for 2 nights last April. We were hearing some crazy stuff. We were on the south side of the highway, literally a 20-minute walk to the rim. We had driven back to that area to work about 3 times from Tucson that month. Typically, there are survey problems with this type of job. Associates couldn't see one of the panels on the flyover. The elevation was busted. The clients who met us at the Denny's in Payson had bought the property to make it into a Christian retreat or something like that. It has about 50 acres of some pretty rough, nasty terrain that was going to be worked out near the rim. Work was pretty scarce back then, so when I got a call to help, I was pretty happy. You pretty much took whatever you could back in those days. 2012. It was cool for me and the other guys because it was going into its third weekend. Being that it was the third time that we were there, we absolutely needed to finish. It started getting dark, and that's when things got crazy. I'd say about 7:15 p.m., August 19th, there was a discussion amongst us about the best way to get the GPS base and break it down. All this was relevant because we ended up turned around out there as it was getting pretty dark. The guy we picked up in Phoenix to help us was lagging behind, and he kept saying he could hear something behind him. Honestly, I thought he was full of crap and was being paranoid because all he did was complain the last couple hours we hiked. The circus started when we heard and felt steps run by us in the trees that felt very heavy. He yelled that it was a bear. I saw it really quick and thought the same. None of us had ever seen a bear ever in the wild, so assumed, oh crap, it's a bear. Didn't see it good at that point, but it felt close. No more than 5 minutes later, the other guy, Carlos, pointed and told us to look, and there it was about 50 feet away, standing next to a tree, looking right at us. From the little bit of natural you could make out of its size, and that he was covered in hair. He had a mean-looking posture, and you could see his body breathing. It didn't look like it was standing straight up, but even then, it was well over 6 feet. Easy. It grunted a couple of times, and just like that, it was gone. No words can describe the absolute crippling fear that comes over you. The three of us just stood there. In that moment, I could see his face reflecting light. He looked kind of shiny, other than two big black eye sockets. I couldn't make out any of the other features. Its hair was definitely black or really dark brown. We eventually started moving the base and picked it up. The entire time we were moving, it moved with us, just out of sight. You could hear it. I couldn't smell anything. At one point, I stopped and looked into the trees for about a minute, and sure as heck, there he was, just standing and watching us from about 60 feet. It was like he was trying to hide and be stealthy, but wasn't making an effort to do so. Long story short, it ended when we got back to the truck, and it must have known we were scared because he let out some kind of a yell as if he was telling us to get the hell out of there. Totally insane. Kelly with RMSO responding, one night coming out of Hell's Canyon in the Uinta Mountains. We had something following us. It growled at Jenny when she got separated from us, never showed itself, but we could hear it paralleling us. And then Jenny was really scared because when it growled out at her, she says it sounded like a big, dirty old man. We got across this clearing and we were only about a half a mile from where our vehicle was parked. The sun was going down, and it started screaming across the clearing at us. As scary as hell. And my gut feeling right away was it was telling us not to come back. That's the sense I got that it was communicating to us. So I kind of understand how your guys' encounter ended. Really appreciate you reaching out to us. Anyone else with the Bigfoot sighting wants to reach out to us, email us at rmsobigfoot@gmail.com. And please make sure you subscribe, click on that bell button so that you get notifications of the 2 to 3 videos that we post each week of sighting reports, investigations into those sighting report areas, and any Bigfoot evidence that's sent to us. Keep on watching. We're going to keep on squatching.